Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Okay? So today we are in chapter 13 now. 13 and 2 more chapters. So this is the last of the 10 aparadhas. So far we've discussed 9 aparadhas. Now this 10th namaparadha is to maintain your material conception and desires. This mood that I and mine, like that. It said that okay, you may be initiated, you may be chanting Harinam, but you still maintain all these bodily designations. I am a Brahmin. Even the conception that I am a Vaisnava. All this like I. Meaning you're self-centered still. And along with that, the extension of the false ego. This is mine. Or this is my room. And this is my book. Like this. All this mine. My enjoyment. Or that leads to all this like false pride that like I am the doer. Like this. Because of me. Like this. And so it is said that you may be chanting, but when you are still having all this, material conceptions, all these material desires, right? Like desire for possession, then this is your like a very big block to your progress. Said never you will attain prem, like that. And why? Because this is the number 10th offense of nam, and it is an actual symptom of the lack of surrender. It's like the entrance to bhakti we know is what? What's it? Sharanagati, surrender. So if we are still maintaining all this like I, me, mine, he said that this is actually a surrender, a symptom of you have not really surrendered yet, and therefore never you have not even entered bhakti. So your chanting will never become pure. It will remain namabhas, and namabhas even in that like aparad, so namaparad. So therefore we are advised, and Haridas in this conversation with Mahaprabhu in this chapter, he was telling that very important that one has to like surrender to the holy name. So what are the like 6 symptoms of surrender? Like Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he explained in other books he explained this thoroughly, but here he's just like giving some indication that okay, very important, like to be aware, and like devotees sincerely like have to be try to be free from this aparad by trying to like surrender, have this sense of sharanagati. And there are 6 symptoms, no? You know them? This anukulya sankalpa. Anukulya sankalpa means the vow that what is anukul, you do. What is favorable. Then pratikulya sa vivarjanam. Like what is unfavorable, you reject. So that is actually like understandable, no? Like what is unfavorable and what is favorable. We know that bhakti, when you say like now we want to perform devotional service, that's only possible when your body is alive. So you have to be practical also. Like okay, whatever like is practical, keeping your body like fit, but everything has to be like favorable for devotion. So what is unfavorable, then you reject. Then what else? Anukulya sankalpa pratikos varjanam, rakshasati viswaso. Viswaso means like firm like belief, faith that Krishna is my protector. Raksha, Raksha viswaso. Krishna is my protector. And then Goptetre Varanam. Varanam, actually the word Varanam is well, it's like to it's like like in marriage, like you accept like someone in marriage, like that. So like Gopta, that means like you accept that God is your only maintainer. So like when someone is like in wedded during wedding, now he is accepting like one as your husband, like that. So like, oh, he is my only family, he's maintaining me, like this. So one is you accept God as your protector, and the other is he's your maintainer. So it is said that this is actually the main symptom, Gopta-3 Varanam. Yeah, it has been explained like that. That you really can fully surrender when you know that like you're being maintained by God. You're not the maintainer. Okay. So now just think about this. You when you say he's the protector or he's the maintainer, that means you'll be free from all this like false ego that like I maintain myself, like I'm independent. Like some people, they have all this pride, like I don't depend on anyone. Like I know because of me, like that. They always like have this, like Harinama Cintamani was saying, like, they overestimate their glories, like so much, like that, and they have all this like false ego. So these are symptomatics of people who have not surrendered really, like that. They forget Krishna is the maintainer. Sometimes by good karma, like you attain some, like some sense of gratification or some like fame and like this. Even as a devotee, we experience all this like sense of gratification. Devotees, they, like they don't have no attachment for this. Sometimes in your service, automatically all this like pain and like pleasure, material pain and pleasure, they all come. But like we're advised to have this yukta vairagya. Like you accept them, but without any attachment, like this. So, but someone who has not surrendered, they become so happy with this, like, and it's because of me, like that. And okay, so what happens when you know that you are not the controller, like, or you're not the protector? God is the protector. When you're always in that mood, then you always feel humble. So this is the fifth, no, like always meek and humble. That's the one, right? Like, atmanic shape, meaning I'm always like
Karpanya,
atmanic shape, karpani.
Karpanya means humble.
So you're humble, and then atmanic shape, no. Atmanic shape meaning like fully surrendered. Like that.
Offering yourself.
Yeah, like when you know that like God is your maintainer, you are not like whatever is there, whatever is happening is all by His mercy only. Then really at that point, like you feel like I am nothing without Him, like this. I am worthless without Him, like that. And therefore easily you can just like like surrender, like offer yourself, like dedicate your whole life to Him. So this is what Haridas was telling. If only, and really we're advised, we have to come to this point of actual surrender. And if we are in this mood, then he said like easily you'll be free from this 10th aparad. And what happens if you are free from this 10th aparad, this whole conception, like I am a Brahmin, you identify with your material designations, then you'll also be free from like easily from all other offenses. Like for example, the first offense, Vaisnava aparad, like sadhaninda. Why would you criticize someone else? Mostly because of like pride, or like maybe enviousness or whatever. But there is that conception that I am better than him, or you still have this material like vision on a devotee. For example, it's like he is like in the case of Haridas, he's from a Muslim like family. So those are in a Brahmin caste, like this, like Hindus, then they would look down on him. Yeah. So it is said that most of the offenses really are like that. Like a devotee, he by his past activities, he now is in this particular body. You know, that means that's a result of his karma, right? Now it's actually a show, a proof that they have no faith in Harinam. That person has already chanted Harinam, and especially he has already surrendered. But still, they're looking like he's, like low caste, like that. And that means they have no faith in the Nam, because it is said just by namabhas even, that means like all your karma is clear, like that. So there should not be consideration of like what caste you're in, like this. And but if someone is criticizing you because of that, it is a big aparadha. It's the number one. Or you make mistakes before in your past, and up to now you've already surrendered. You have already surrendered. So, but these devotees up to now, they're still talking about your mistakes. Oh, he's done this. He's like this. Oh, he's a prostitute, like that. And so this is like a very big offense. Nam will never like reveal himself to you like this. So, if only like this, we have surrendered, you become like humble and serious, then like very easy, you progress. Here in this chapter, Haridas, he was saying that how to come to this point. Like right now, we know we're like conditioned souls. It's so difficult to like free ourselves from all these material designations and these desires. He said, how to free yourself? He said, you try to, he said, like voluntarily, be in poverty. Like give up all this, all your conveniences, all luxury. Try to live very simply. If possible, try to voluntarily live just very simple. And it's so easy if you live with the Vaisnavas. Like that. That's why mud, the situation in the mud is very good. Because in the mud, you are protected from having to have to try to fulfill all your desires. Like when you're at home, all these material desires and no one checking you. But when you're in the mud, then the mud is already arranged to be very simple, and it's like a training, like brahmachari training, very simple, like that. But of course, let's say in a big mud, for example, especially rich, then very important you associate with actual devotees, because even when you live in the mud, but then you associate with not real devotees, but pseudo or so-called, then they're still and they still have all these material desires. Then truly you're not living properly as what is ideal, So you may be in the mud, but you're not associating with the high class Vaishnavas. Then it's not as beneficial. So when you're in the mud, then you have all everything favorable. The schedules are there, the many services are there. So he said that you stay with those. You have to be greedy. He said easily this namaparadha will go away if really only you're greedy, and only you can become greedy if you're staying with greedy people. So greedy meaning they only want we're talking about bhakti, greedy for bhakti. You can also be greedy for material sense enjoyment, and that's what happens if you associate with these greedy people for material sense enjoyment, then you will remain materialist, like that. So the karmis, the jnanis, we know the karmis. No, the karmis, they want sense gratification. The jnanis, they want liberation. So you have to look. If you're a devotee, you try to be away from these goals like the karmis and the jnanis. You have to understand what is your purpose. Our purpose really is bhakti, like that. So when you're chanting Nam, that is what we're trying to pray, like this. So you have to associate with those who are like greedy for bhakti. And then I said like then easily like this all this this like how do you call this tendency to commit this aparadha will become like less when you live very simply and only focus on your like sadhana with the Vaishnavas. Then you forget, like after some time you forget all this, like all the luxury and all these material desires that you have. Like easily you can forget that. And the bhakti in the heart of the Vaishnava then will come like this. So and easily you can be like that Vaishnava, like really surrendered. He said that really if you become surrendered, like then you'll be free from all these offenses and you become expert in your sadhana. That he said that like it's quite interesting. Bhaktivinoda Thakur here, and then that's Haridas Thakur. Haridas Thakur is saying that only in a few days, if your chanting becomes like free from all offenses, really, it's like then in a few days you'll attain bhav.
Really?
Yeah, he said like that. In just a few days, you'll attain bhav. Your sadhana will become like you're be expert in your sadhana, and then just in a few days, then you attain prem. He said like that. So, yeah. So very important that like we have to make effort that like free from these offenses. So he said like how to be free from these offenses. We just have to remember the positive, like the opposite of these offenses. So like what is the first offense? Sadhu-ninda. So then you have to do the opposite. Like I'll never criticize the sadhus. I'll only like appreciate their glories. The real glory of the sadhu is that they have fully surrendered at the lotus feet of Krishna. And that is the main quality of sadhu. Like that. If you see someone have that quality, because the sadhu has like 26 qualities. No. Other qualities like expert, he's like peaceful, like clean, and like all these like qualities. Even those qualities are not there, all the other qualities, but he has this main quality, that is he has already like his whole life only one pointed like at the feet of Krishna, surrendered. Then you have to accept him as sadhu. Like be very careful, don't criticize that person.
How understand this person full surrender to Krishna?
You will like see symptoms. There's 6 symptoms you will see. He has what is favorable, he is never, and what is unfavorable, he reject. Yeah, like this. These 6 symptoms you will see.
Like bhajan, we pray.
Yeah. Yeah. Then like all the time he's only thinking of Krishna. He has no faith in karma gyan. He has no faith in like demigod worship and others. Like he has not attached to this like wealth or whatever. I remember like here in the mat, for example, like Prabhuji would always tell me like we are not maintained by like any of this money. We're not maintained by your Bitcoin or like this. At one time like I was so like thinking like, oh, Bitcoin now so big like that. We should have like changed it later. Like we should not have like because sometimes we get donation Bitcoin, but then we changed them all to pay for the samadhi like that. And then this Bitcoin like became very high. I was saying Prabhuji like we should have not like changed it that time. We should have kept it more money. And Prabhuji just looking at me like, it's like you are so greedy. It's like we are not maintained by this money, this Bitcoin, whatever. We are maintained by Harinam. Like that. He's telling me that we are maintained by Harinam. This Harinam is maintaining us. Like this. So this was like a very good lesson for me. As you can see, Vaishnavas, they're only one pointed in this in Nam. And therefore they know Krishna is protecting them. Krishna is maintaining them. They have no insecurity like whatever people, or these people criticizing me, or these people is like not favorable to me. They don't worry like that. And internally they're just absorbed. They're doing their seva, only absorbed. So it is said that we only think of the positive. Okay, so don't criticize the sadhus. Then next is you acknowledge that name of Krishna, and Krishna is supreme, absolute. Nothing is equal. God, the demigods, never is equal to him like this. No?
But how be near this personality? Real be near.
You have to pray first. You have to pray like that. You have to pray. Like
Because it's not easy being
it
near.
should always be our prayer that I will always be with the high class Vaishnavas. And then, because if that is your desire, Krishna will arrange that. But if your desire is like, I want to enjoy this, I want to enjoy that, then you'll be cheated. It will be you're chanting, and you're chanting with like all this aparadha because you're thinking of all these things. So then it will be given to you, and you'll have sense gratification also, even liberation you'll get, but you'll not have prem like this. So you'll be cheated. Okay, so we we don't criticize sadhu. We think we acknowledge God, Krishna and His holy name is superior. Nothing is equal. Like the names of Shiva or Rama not independent from God. And then what else? The third one, Guru Avagya. That means you acknowledge Guru as your he's your very he's like your life giver. He's giving you nam. He's your very he's your master like that. Guru Avagya. So therefore, if you have that mood, then never you will disobey or think of him as an ordinary person. Then you'll be free from that third offense. Then what was the fourth offense? Shruti Shastra Ninda. Oh, you have full respect and appreciation of the Shrutis, the Shastra, and therefore you don't criticize or you have full faith in them. Then next one is you acknowledge that name is completely Shuddha transcendental. Not that it's just an imaginary, all the glories of the name is just some fiction, like that. Then you seriously chanting, not use the name as how do you call this? Like the Christians, they have this. They go to the they go to church and to pray for their sins. They have this how do you call that? They have this confession. Yeah, they have this confession. They sin all day or they sin whole month, and after Friday or whatever day they go and they pray, and then after that they feel okay, I'm now okay. So you don't think like that. The holy name is like that. On the strength of the name, then you can sin again. This is a great offense to the name. Then after that, yes. So you only. This is actually for gurus. You take the role of guru. You don't give Harinam to those who are no faith. You don't instruct them on the holy name. If they don't have faith. Again, we have explained this before. This is different from going when we go to the village or to the schools and teaching them the glories of the name. This is not what it means. In our preaching, we are helping them to have faith in the name. But then later when they have faith, then you can give Harinam. If you take that role as a guru, you give them Harinam, you give them instruction. So how they can receive Shuddhanam like that, and how they can worship Krishna like this. Then after that, yes, never think that there is something equal to this chanting of the name, in terms of this material processes karma or these pious activities. You think like that. Then this last one, maintaining this material. Huh? Oh yeah, pramad. That's the last one. Previously, pramad, inattentive. You were not here the other day. The ninth offense is inattentive chanting. So three. You remember the three types?
Like indifference,
Carelessness, laziness, and distraction. No. So, what is the positive opposite to that? You chant like seriously and like with full attention, sincerely. So, then 10th, no, don't maintain this bodily designations. Don't maintain this mood of I, mine, like this. So, he said that if only like you be very careful from committing these offenses. And it said that once you are with the Vaisnava, like staying with the Vaisnava, and carefully, like from these offenses, you and chanting like very seriously in that mood that like in the beginning is in that mood, like praying that like I'm nothing. Like like when you're surrendered, you're always like humble. You're praying. But very late, but soon you will begin to taste like happiness. This happiness is never equal to those in the process of karma or gyan. Not equal even by those who attain liberation. Like that. So that one you begin to experience at the stage of bhav. And he said it's just a few days. He said it's just a few days you will have. And then he said, so therefore you should come to the stage of constantly chanting. So we mentioned about this nirbandha, like last time. So like you train to be always constantly chanting. And he said like from 1 granti, meaning 4 rounds, to 16 granti, meaning 64 rounds, and then more and more. But really, Bhaktivinoda Thakur is explaining that constant chanting meaning that apart from the time of your minimal time to rest and some necessity, to do like some for your bodily maintenance, then the rest of the time really is just like chanting. That is like constantly chanting. And really, in the stage of bhav, it is said that one symptom is you don't want to waste any time, really. And so like you're just absorbed. Like that. And so this will be explained more in our last chapter, that once you begin to experience, now you're in the stage of bhav, then your sadhan is now more into becoming absorbed in the leelas of Krishna, like that. So before that is different, your sadhan, your sadhan before is even like how to become surrendered and like how to attain nishta, like this. Attain nishta so that your bhajan become fixed. While when you stage of bhav, then you can perform this like astakalilas, like smaran, like this. Some people they want to directly go to this, but look, they can't even follow kirtan. Like some 1 hour kirtan in the morning, 1 hour kirtan in the afternoon, trying to attain the moods of our Guru Varga. They cannot even do like that. But then they want already like, I want to know my name, my dress, like all this, like this. So that's like high stage sadhan. First we have to attain stage of bhav. So now surrender and carefully free from all these offenses and chanting like very seriously. And this is very easy if you're in the association of high class Vaishnavas, like that. And so, and yes, like be always in that mood of prayer, like especially to Mahaprabhu. So like in this chapter, Haridas again praying like to Mahaprabhu. So please give me this nectar of the name. He's already tasting, but he's all the time praying. It's also showing the symptom of the actual devotee, Actual devotee, they're already tasting, but they're never satisfied and they want like that. Okay, so hopefully this will remain for us our inspiration. We can chant nicely, So avoiding these 10 offenses. We pray to Srila Gurudev, our Guru Varga, Haridas Thakur. Yes. Jai Shri Gurudev ki Jai, Shri Haridas Thakur ki Jai, Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki Jai, Harinama Cintamani ki Jai. Gaur Premanandi.